Okay, let's move on talking about this Elio movie. Now, Leaflet, have you heard much about this Elio movie, this new Pixar movie that came out a couple weeks ago?
I have abandoned all hope for Disney.
Okay. So,
But I would love to see it. What they're cooking this time.
well, I'll tell you what, there's a new article about this movie that has come out, and it really talks about the interesting direction this movie has taken since it was originally announced a couple of years ago. This is from the Hollywood Reporter, and we have a TLDR of this right here, but the headline is simple. Inside Elio's catastrophic path, America Ferrara's exit, director change, and erasure of queer themes. Now, here we are. This is a quick TLDR of this, right? And Blabs, how about you read through these real fast, because there's a lot here. So here's everything you need to know about the article.
Okay, so Pixar massively changed Elio after the original cut was test screen, and not a single person raised their hand when asked if they'd pay to see the film in a movie theater.
Okay, let's stop there real quick.
Oh man.
How bad was it where you're like, not a single person was like, yeah, I'd be willing to part with money to see
But this is actually good then, because that means they took the feedback and they changed it to make a movie that, even though it's flopping, from what I've heard, is actually a fun movie.
Okay, yeah, but at the same time, how bad was this original cut?
Oh no, it had to have been terrible. It's like the Sonic, right? The Sonic design was absolutely garbage. Everyone was pissed off about it, and so they went and reworked it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Pixar staffer says that Elio that is in the theaters right now is far worse than Adrian's best version of the original. Suddenly you remove this big key piece, which is all about identity, and Elio just becomes a totally nothing.
So the movie itself is about a little boy. The movie right now is about a little boy who wants to be an alien, and he gets sucked up into an alien craft and becomes a representative of Earth, right? So he doesn't, quote, identify with everybody else in the world. His job over here is, he wants to be an alien because they're different, and he's more there. So yes, the idea of, this identity thing is interesting, but go ahead, continue, Blabs.
The budget was well north of 200 million, while other reports suggest the film was 150 million. So big budget movie.
And others suggest the budget was north of 300 million. So, yikes. Okay.
Yes, a really big budget, ironically, for something that didn't get a whole lot of promotion.
No.
If you think about it. Lilo and Stitch was the one that got everything, obviously. Originally, Elio was written and presented to be much more queer-coded, a reflection of Adrian Molina himself and his upbringing, but this notion was cut entirely, along with scenes like photos in Elio's room involving a male crush.
Okay, so...
Again, that's a good change, then.
Yes,
Get rid of
it. This apparently was... I have an issue with this idea, the idea of being queer coded, right?
What does it even mean? Why do we have these words named we're coded queerness?
Well,
like a filings cabinet or something,
Okay, when you have a code, what is the job of, what do you need to do with a code, right? You have to decipher the code. Mm-hmm. You have to work your way to figure out what the code is, right? Saying something is remove queer from that, right? Just say it was straight. Just say straight, right? It was straight coded, right? The idea that it was hidden. It was hidden from the idea, and it was an underlying theme, but it's not going to be just put out there. That's propaganda. That's what that is. That's literally just another phrase for propaganda. And this movie is designed for children. Right. So why are we putting this in these films and him like staring at, like, if you recall, this is not the first time this has happened.
No, we had that trans short get terminated. Remember, from Disney?
Well, and Inside Out too. Originally, she was supposed to be gay. Mm-hmm. She was going to have a crush on the high school girl, hockey player as well. So what is it about these Pixar films that they just feel the need to make queer coding or gay things be a part of it? What is the point of it? Like, why is it all out of Pixar? And this is several films in a row. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But yes, you're right, Blabs. They've gone in, they've actually they listened, or at least they changed because they knew that maybe the culture shift has happened.
Well,
over
because
the last
remember,
movie.
they had the Pixar Lightyear gay stuff, and it did not go well. So hopefully they learned their lesson. I would hope.
Leaflet, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, the problem is that they're trying to make a product for kids, but they're too obsessed with themselves. I think that's the problem.
They want to identify themselves.
Goes back to narcissism every single time.
Yep.
Yes. All right, let's go and continue here, Blabs, as there's more here with this.
All right, let's see. Pixar employees say that the studio executives themselves cut queer elements from Elio, and the decision did not come from Disney. A lot of people like to blame Disney, but the call is coming from inside the house. A lot of it is obeying in advance behavior coming from the higher execs at Pixar. Well, that's a confusing statement, because Disney owns Pixar, so isn't it still Disney?
Yeah, I think the idea is that they kind of cut it off at the path before Disney went in and said anything, possibly, perhaps.
Yeah, weird. All right, the next bullet is former Pixar assistant editor Sarah Ligotic, who provided feedback during Elio production as a member of the company's internal LGBTQ group Pix Pride. Wow. So that a number of creatives working on the film stepped down after the director shared their first cut of the revised movie. The exodus of talent after that cut was really indicative, of how unhappy a lot of people were they had changed and destroyed this beautiful work. So basically a lot of Pride people were big mad that they stopped making it a gay movie.
Total side note
Pix
here.
Pride, who would have thought?
Yeah. So I actually found this lady on LinkedIn right now, and I'm not going to show her profile here, but I do want to kind of point out a few things. So on her profile, it has she was at Pixar for 2.5 years, right? From December 21 to May 24. So then she went to go work for the CBC for 2 months, which is the Canadian Broadcast Company. Then after that, she went and worked for SawStop for 3 months, right? And now she's at this other company for 9 months. So she had three stops over the span of like 6 months. She went from Pixar to CBC to this other company, and then another. So actually 4 stops in 6 months.
A lot of turnover.
That's a lot of turnover. And at a certain point, don't you have to kind of look at yourself and be like, maybe I'm the problem here? You know? Maybe.
Yeah, unless she was like, she left on her own, you know? I still agree it's very fishy for the 6 months, but she might not have been fired for every single one.
Well, she is out of Portland.
She was on contract and she was working for X amount of time, like some activist or whatever, and you know.
There's that psycho right there. So anyways, yeah. So she was butthurt about the whole thing. So yeah, there you go. And so lots going on with this movie. It has not done very well at all. It's massively underperformed. The domestic opening weekend made $20.8 million, marking the lowest opening for a Pixar film in its 30-year history.
Damn.
Globally, the film earned $35 million for the weekend. So it's only been out for a week, but it is very much underperformed, and there's not a chance this thing is going to make its money back long term. Do you think that Leaflet? Do you think that Disney owns Pixar, as you said? Do you think that they're like finally starting to see that they can't just throw out slop, or they can't throw out these generic stories, and they can't just throw out like this activism disguised as stories, and they're starting to learn? Do you think you're going to see a course correction from Disney and Pixar?
I mean, it's hard to say because I feel like their company was pretty taken over by that. So it's hard to say. And I mean, a lot of people were kind of okay with it before. I think just people are fatigued. Like parents are fatigued. It's like you said, right? Like it feels like propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
So even if like you want to say, in the most generous way, that it's not propaganda and it's just like, something that they want to make, the perception is that it is. So when parents see it, they're like, I don't want my kid exposed to that, right? Because before, to people, to a lot of parents, Disney was like a safe source of like, this is a safe thing for my child to watch. This is a safe company that, you know, I could put my kid in front of the TV, let them watch some Disney stuff, and it's going to be okay. But now that people are starting to see the propaganda, like, maybe not, right? So now that's why you're having a lot of people. I mean, this all started with like, I don't know how long like ago this started, but like Lightyear had that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like every single time, right? It's I understand like if it happened a couple times, but it feels like it's almost everything now, right? Like that's the entire thing. So it's hard to believe that it's not propaganda, right?
Well, I'll say this, you know, Inside Out 2 was one of the biggest animated films ever. But leading up to the release of Inside Out 2, just I know from being in the parent sphere, right, talking with different parents, there was a lot of talk about that movie about, okay, is there going to be all sorts of like gay stuff in this movie that I got to explain to my kids, right? There was like a lot of that. And or is there going to be like pride flags and stuff? Like, because this was coming out, this is in 2024. There's talk about this culture shift at Disney, and apparently, remember, there was, as we mentioned, the character in Inside Out 2 was supposed to have, I guess, to be queer coded, right, and have this crush on this girl. But as soon as, and I'm telling you, this is exactly what happened. As soon as the word got out after like the opening day that there wasn't that stuff in there, it was like the floodgates open. It's like, okay, I'll go take my kids to go see it. Like the dam broke, and that's how it became the #1 animated movie ever. And I'm telling you, parents talk when it comes to this stuff. And in the case of Inside Out 2, parents talk to the point of billions of dollars. So yeah, you're right, man. You're right, Leaflet. There's definitely something to the idea of people just being tired of it. And Inside Out 2's success, I think, was a direct correlation of people voting with their wallet, saying, "Look, we just want normal movies. We just want a movie that we can take our kids to." And because Inside Out 2 wasn't as good as the original one, but it was what it needed to be at the time. So ultimately, parents voted with their wallet, and to the tune of 1.9 or $2 billion, whatever it was that it made. It's crazy. So, for the record, my kids actually did see Elio. They saw it as a free preview, actually, and my 13-year-old didn't like it. She thought it was like bleh, and my 10-year-old, 11-year-old, she thought it was okay. So there wasn't like, you know, a Toy Story or anything like that where it's like, you gotta see it, you know. So
what do you think of Mario and Sonic?
I asked Mally some information on this because she went and saw it, and she thought it was a cute story, like nothing super like Ratatouille or whatever, but she thought it was okay. But she was also saying how like this movie probably didn't do well because of all the marketing that was basically for Lilo and Stitch, and like no marketing whatsoever for this movie. So that could also be a reason why it's currently flopping, and not to do with the whole bunch of changes and everything that were for the better from what we've read.
I didn't hear about this, so I kind of tracks what Blabs is saying. I didn't even know about this movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and you know, I think they put their money in the right basket when it came to Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's everyone knows the story, right? Elio is a risk. It's an original story, which is unfortunate because you would want to get more original IPs and less remakes, in my opinion. But oh well.
You know what the best Pixar movie's been in the last 5 years?
Luca.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
Oh, it's such a great little story. It's well, and Blabs naturally, it's because it's Italian, right? But yes, it's just about two friends who just kind of hang out, but they're mermaids, or they're mermen.
Yeah,
they
like
want to
mermen
live on the
kind of
surface.
thing.
Yeah, it's really cute, really cute. So you can find that on Disney Plus.
It actually is. And like there was hardly any marketing for that one, I don't think. Like it wasn't that big of a movie. But yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, Luca's awesome. It was a pleasant surprise because it was released at the peak, like
the bullshit.
Wokeness bullshit, right? And people were upset because there's a scene in it where one of the boys puts his arm around the other boys, it just as like a friendship thing, like, hey, you know, we're bros. And people were like, oh, he's gay. Luca's gay.
Yeah, they wanted to make it something it wasn't. It was just like two dudes just being friends, you know?
Yeah, it's just silly. All right. Holy moly. Give it up for Retromeister popping in with the massive $50 super chat. Blabs is looking. She found him. Blabs, why don't you read that off for us?
Oh, hang on. Okay. Retromeister says, Morning, Scrollers. To me, Turning Red is the worst Pixar movie ever. That had a cringe storyline and cringe quote of "My panda, my choice." It made a lot of people like Brad Bird leave for John Lasseter's Skydance animation, and Pixar hasn't recovered since.
Thank you,
Skydance
Retromeister.
animation.
Yeah, when John Lasseter was ousted for you know, allegations and stuff, that made, I think a lot of people think that was the end of Pixar right there. Mary says Pixar peaked with Up in 2009, and it's all pretty much been downhill from there. So.
Yeah, Up is the great. I hear rumors that they want to do an Up live action. It's like, what the fuck?
Why would you do that?
Right? Why? But then again, why did they do Lilo and Stitch and all these other ones?
Trinity says Leaflet existence is so based, it scares me. All right. Mercenary says male crush. How old is Elio? The movie's for is for kids, right? That's kind of the idea. He also says this is why John Lasseter was removed. He was against this, and they had to remove him because he would affirm their mental illness. Pete says I was mildly interested in this movie because I was also super into space as a kid. They can't let a boy just be a boy and like boy things. Do you have common sense? You do? Oh, good. Well, you should probably watch this video here then.